Welcome to episode 11 of, what's the show called again? An Album a Day? An Album a Day online. My name is Daryl. I'll be your critic today. I have been sick for the last several days. Instead, you might be able to hear it in my chest still. So I haven't posted a video in a few days because I just really haven't had the energy to post anything. So I apologize to all of you loyal fans for not uploading a new album review for you to devour and take as your gospel for what records you should go rush to the online store, or better yet, an actual physical record store to go and purchase. But I'm back. And today we're going to be dealing with a band that is really getting a lot of press and impressing a lot of people. They won the Mercury Prize for their first album 2 years ago, and their new album, entitled This Is All Yours, is the second album by the band Alt J. Now, Alt J are from Ireland, and they are really, really good. If you haven't heard of them, I recommend you head over to altj.com or check out their videos here on YouTube. Alt-J is very much keeping in the vein of progressive sounding alt rock. United Kingdom, well, Ireland is not part of the United Kingdom. Um, Irish, Scottish, UK style bands. You can hear very heavily influences of Radiohead. I hear a lot of influences by, say, Brian Eno, by Talking Heads. They definitely bring a liveliness to softer sounding British rock bands. Radiohead, and unfortunately, I hate to do this. Some people say Radiohead, Radiohead. I'm sick of hearing about Radiohead. The honest truth is, Radiohead's OK Computer, released in 1997, delivered a blueprint for so many aspiring alternative rock musicians and so many people who wanted to pick up an acoustic guitar and make music that was um, at once aggressive and innovative, while at the same time being stripped bare and being very um, vulnerable. And then Tom York does vulnerable very, very well. The guys from Alt J also do vulnerable very, very well, and that is and that's what Alt J does better than so many other bands that have followed suit from Radiohead. I'm talking about Coldplay, Snow Patrol, band like Muse. All these new British music fans sort of hang their hats. We even had the band Travis before that was very much compared to sort of that acoustic Radiohead type sound. And I'd have to say, quite honestly, that nobody does an approximation of Radiohead better than Alt J does. And while at the same time they sound very little like Radiohead. And that was sort of the magic of the aforementioned Radiohead, is that they took all their influences and blended it into something altogether their own sound. You can never at one time pin down and say, oh, this song sounds like Neil Young. This song sounds like Pink Floyd. This song sounds like blah blah blah. While so many of their contemporaries of the time, they just wore their influences on their sleeves and didn't even try to separate themselves from the sound that influenced them. I'm talking about Blur and Oasis. And while those two bands very much made music that I enjoyed, no one could accuse, especially Oasis, of not being very derivative of the music they grew up listening to. But I digress. So Alt J, All This Is Yours. This Is All Yours, excuse me. This Is All Yours is 11 tracks. 11 tracks. Am I lying to you? I am lying to you, aren't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tracks. I was mostly right. It's 12 tracks. The instrumentation is very sparse and then very dense. the worst. So um, um, Left Hand is the lead-off single from this record, and Left Hand Free, sorry, is the lead-off single, and it is the least. It's a track that sounds the least like the rest of the tracks on this record. When I first listened to it, I said, "Well, that's got a very, dirty blues rock type of sound that so many bands are gravitating to right now." And it's still an excellent track, but so much of the rest of the album, the songs are given a lot of room to breathe, and that may actually be um, one of the biggest things that will keep Alt J from meeting a larger mainstream fan base and audience is that they don't go in, hit you with the hook, hit you with the chorus, and then get out. They really allow their songs a lot of space and time to breathe. And that's, I think, where a lot of the comparisons to Radiohead and other bands that Brit rock bands that have followed and have created blueprints for other Brit rock bands. Again, understanding that Alt J aren't from Britain. Um, a good comparison would be the space that, say, Pink Floyd would give to a song like "Carry On, You Crazy Diamond." I mean, it's 5 or 6 minutes before even the first lyric comes in. Alt J aren't quite as grandiose as that on this record, but there is a song structure they seem to follow almost on every single song, which might be a detraction for some music. I don't want to say snobs, but some musicians may say, why don't you change your arrangements up a little bit? Why do you start off so quiet? And then you build a little bit of more musicality, and then you add the lyrics, and then you go to a bigger sound, and then you bring it all down again. And that seems to be the formula throughout the bulk of this album. But it is very, very good. I do recommend it highly if you're looking for something that is at once soothing while at the same time musically challenging. This isn't an album you put on and just have in the background. It cannot be appreciated unless you give it your rapt attention. And that is one of the things I do love about it. I actually listened to this album several times in the car as I was driving, and then I put it on headphones um, a good month or two after it had finally come in the house from the car, and that's when I really started to appreciate it. When I was able to actually concentrate on nothing but the sound in my ears, um, that's really where This Is All Yours really opens up and really becomes what I think may have been one of the best records released in 2014. So, Alt J are touring all over the world. They've got a large tour schedule ahead of them, and for fans here in Southern Ontario, like me, they will be playing the Way Home Music and Arts Festival in Oro-Medonte here in Ontario, July 24th, 25th, and 26th. Wayhome.com is where you can get more information. It is a huge festival. There are some very, very good acts. There are some acts that I'm not excited about, but I'll be touching on albums from some of those acts as we get closer to those dates. Again, wayhome.com for the Way Home Music and Arts Fest, which Alt J is one of the headline acts. All right, in other news, I just want to say, when I was sick, when I do get sick, everyone's got sort of staples they go to. They want chicken soup and nothing else. They want to watch, their favorite movie, and for me, one of my favorite movies is The Empire Strikes Back. It's sort of my go-to movie when I'm not feeling the best, either emotionally, tear, or physically. So I put on Empire Strikes Back on the television yesterday while I was convalescing with fever and really not feeling well. And I just was reminded how much I love that movie. So today, whilst I was doing other stuff, I put in the 20th anniversary CD 2-disc edition of the motion picture soundtrack, and was really impressed. Those of you who would be even potentially interested in hearing about this, there's a bunch of tracks that were not on the original CD release or on the original double album LP release released originally in 1980. But the target demographic for this album is going to be very, very slim. Even if you are a classical music fan, if you're not a fan of orchestral scores for films, then no one else is really going to be caring about this. So, but if you're looking for, if you never bought the anniversary editions of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, certainly The Empire, which is the best movie of the three, so it follows suit that maybe it's the best soundtrack of the three. All right. Last but not least, some album release announcements for you. Those of you who know me out there know that I'm a really big Van Halen fan. Those of you who are not fans of Van Halen, I say, don't you like fun? Seriously, you don't like Van Halen? Don't I mean you don't like Sammy Hagar Van Halen? Okay, I can concede that. He sang about love like almost every single song, and the word love was in almost every single song title. But still, you don't like the David Lee Roth stuff? Even like the first two or three records? Really? Um, but I'm a big fan, and I'm very much looking forward to. Van Halen has reached, their fourth decade of making music and touring, and as such, they have to re-release all of their original catalog because there's better mastering techniques and blah 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 blah. Eddie Van Halen needs more of my money. I agree with that statement, so bring it on. They are going to be re-recording and re-releasing, not re-recording, but remastering and re-releasing their entire catalog with David Lee Roth, and re-releasing it starting on April 4th with Van Halen 1 in 1984, which you can buy separately, or you can buy in a 4-disc edition packaged those two albums with their recently recorded live at the Tokyo Dome concert. So that'll be out April 4th, and then Van Halen's two Diver Down, Women and Children First, will also be released. I'm missing one. Will be released throughout the upcoming months as well. And last but not least, there's also a new Hawksley Workman record in the works, and it's going to be released on June 2nd. Check out hawksleyworkman.com for the trailer for Old Cheetah. Those of you who have watched previous episodes know that I'm a big fan of Hawksley, so I'm looking forward to that. I've been rambling on for just over 12 minutes now. I'm going to let you go. Peace out. I just made up for the last couple episodes. I'll see you tomorrow on Album A Day Online. My name is Daryl Bianco. I have been your critic.